He had a natural swing, and he went with it and trusted it and found huge success in it as both a competitor and an owner and a manager, and he became a good rich guy.
Ernie Vossler, a nameless orphan left on a doorstep who never knew his birth parents. Ernie Vossler rose to be one of the great success stories in American golf, a man who relentlessly drove forward while always giving back. Adopted by the Vossler family in Fort Worth, Ernie grew to be a peerless athlete who excelled at tennis, baseball, basketball, and whatever sport he put his mind to. It took the urging of childhood friend Dan Jenkins to turn his attention to golf.
I take a little pride in having put the first golf club in his hand. I recruited him for the Pascal High School golf team in Fort Worth. We needed a fourth player. Ernie was a good baseball player, a good basketball player, and a good tennis player. Great all-around athlete. And he was playing tennis at the time, and I said, Ernie, we got to have a fourth player on the golf team. He said, well, I've only played golf a couple of times in my life. And I said, well, I just recruited you for the golf team. Before I knew it, he was already breaking 80.
The two led Pascal High School golf team to 2 city championships. While Jenkins went on to his own legendary career, Vossler played his way onto the PGA Tour, where he won 4 times over a 3-year span. To provide stability for his growing family, Vossler cut back on his full-time tour schedule in 1961 and became head golf professional at Quail Creek Golf and Country Club, where he was instrumental in hosting the annual Oklahoma City Open from '62 through '67. Each winter, however, he would head west to Palm Springs with family and friends to compete in the precursor to the Bob Hope and other West Coast events. All the time, his active mind was examining the development possibilities in the area. Vossler, the idea man, found the perfect complement to his innovative nature in cautious but dedicated Joe Walser Jr., and the two, along with financial wizard Jerry Barton, built the greatest golf development company the world had known.
Ernie was what I call a reactionary, and Joe was more methodical and thought things through, and the two of them balanced one another out, and they made a good team, and that's obvious. They were a team almost 50 years. So,
using Oak Tree National, a bold and daring development in what was then the tiny undeveloped village of Edmond, and later the 36 holes at Oak Tree Country Club as a blueprint.
They really changed the attitude, I think, of golf in a sense, from being maybe a little bit of a stuffy country club type of a thing to, to a different attitude where everybody's kind of welcome. You just come out and have a good time. And
Landmark moved to the Coachella Valley and turned the sleepy desert community upside down.
I would describe their impact on golf in the Coachella Valley as an alarm clock going off. I think in the 60s and 70s, this valley became a very sleepy little golf area with very nondescript golf courses, just kind of surrounded by condos where snowbirds and part-timers would show up. But there was no real need to be great in the golf. Joe and Ernie showed up and changed all of that.
It started with 3 courses at La Quinta Hotel, then 4 at stunning PGA West, highlighted by Dye's Stadium course. Soon projects were underway throughout the valley and around the country.
Listening to Ernie explain his philosophy about if you build golf courses, the golfers will show up was really fascinating to me as a very young golf writer at the time.
Well, I like to think that golf in America would be vastly different without those guys. They were real trendsetters and visionaries, and what they did at Oak Tree and then what they did in Palm Springs really set the tone for the next 2 or 3 decades of development in the golf industry. They were responsible for building some of the great golf courses, great properties throughout our country, and then inspiring others to do the same things.
All told, more than 50 courses were developed by Landmark or its spinoffs, and who knows what that number would have been if the Resolution Trust Corporation had not decimated the company in the early 1990s. Throughout his development career, Ernie remained in love with teaching and playing. Gil Morgan never trusted anyone else with his swing.
We kind of had almost a father-son type of relationship eventually. All the things that he taught me were really beneficial to my ability to play. He taught me a lot about the mechanics of golf, what it took to win.
Fred Couples was another student, as were LPGA stars such as Sandra Palmer and Marlene Hagee. For years, Ernie hosted a breakfast for his key staff, at which he would toss out ideas in rapid fire, only to have Vossler caution, quote, "Hold on there, pro, let's take a look at that." The beauty is, so many of those ideas worked.
To me, he was a visionary for golf, not only in Oklahoma, but all around the United States. His ability to see and do things in the golf industry was kind of spectacular, I thought.
For all he did for the game as a player, teacher, and developer, we welcome Ernie Vossler into the Oklahoma Golf Hall of Fame.